Hi, yes, Matt Tsue. I'm Johan. Together with my team, we're going to help you learn about communication for various purposes. So yes, of course, communication isn't just communicating as it is. It has purposes across multiple usage and it helps us in channeling the true power of communication. So let us first learn what are the objectives of this chapter. The first objective is select a topic and identify your purpose. Second, analyze your audience, then gather materials for your speech. And lastly, to learn about various patterns in organizing thoughts and ideas. And next is the indexes or the main topics that we're going to discuss.
Let's take the learning to the sky.
So, first, let us learn on how to select your topic and identify your purpose. There are two main purposes for a speech, to inform and to persuade. So what are those? To inform is to explain the mechanics and workings of something, while to persuade is to convince your audience why we have to believe or do something. From that, presenting your convincing speech is like one stone hitting two birds. It means your speech should be precise no matter what is your unique way of presenting. Do you know who Steve is? Steve was actually the founder of Apple and was known to effectively convince his customer in buying his product. And that is some persuasion in S-tier level. And he was known to be informative in his speeches and still were very persuasive. And to tell you, not everyone is equipped with that talent of persuasion. And we know that informing is like telling how some bicycle works, but convincing your audience or others that cycling is better than a car is difficult. And to tell you right now, I'm actually an example of an informant or someone who informs. Example of persuaders are marketers, debaters, and advocates. So yes, before we move on, remember, to inform is to tell what, to persuade is to tell why you should. Next is how to choose a good topic for your speech/presentation. First is pick something interesting and familiar enough that you can explain it well. In presenting, of course, we should be able to select interesting yet we can effectively convey to the audience. Ask yourself, is this topic interesting? If yes, can I do it? Okay, next is make it specific, not too broad or general. Of course, in this section, it tells us to write more about less. It means choose only a part of, or a piece of a bigger something, then focus on that only. It's like choosing a specific time in history and write more about that instead of writing the whole history itself, which is not feasible given our ability and time. Well, unless we all have the time in the world to do such time-consuming tasks. And next and last is be realistic about what you can cover in time you're given. And that actually resonates with what we've learned from the second part. So, the key for defining your speech is how to know how to write our purpose statement. So, what is that? Let's take a look at them one by one. So, number one, it says, use full infinitive phrase. Here's an example from the presentation. It says, don't do the parts of computer. Instead, to inform my audience about the parts of computer. It says, always start with to inform or to persuade. Next is, make a statement, not a question. Of course, why would you start in a question instead of pointing it right away, right? So next is, avoid figurative language. Don't use idioms, just like in the presentation. And next is, stick to one clear idea. Choose only a specific topic. And lastly, not too big or general. Again, be specific. So once done, check your purpose with these questions. Ask yourself, does it meet the assignment? Is it what our teacher or our instructor asked for? Or is it in line with the goal that we want? Second, can I do it in time? We've talked about this. Don't pick an overly huge topic. Third is it relevant to my audience? Will they care or learn something useful? And fourth, is it too simple or too hard? Make sure not to give complicated ideas or information, not too simple as well as to the point. You're leaving some highlights and are avoiding storytelling of your tasks. And lastly, is it too technical? Use terms your audience will understand. In fact, it's important to learn your audience. And you know what? Let's talk about that by the help of the next reporter. But before that, let's do a fast recap. We've learned from this segment the two main purposes of speech is to inform and to persuade, then choose a good topic, then write a purpose statement, and lastly, question your work so we could assess our shortfall before we present everything. So, yes, it has been me, Johan, and your turn now.
Thank you, Johan. In this segment, we're going to talk about how to connect to our audience by knowing them before any speech or presentation would commence. So, audience. So, these are a group of people gathered to watch or listen plays, films, or someone who is giving a speech. According to Lucas, year 1989, he identifies two methods of analysis for audience. These are demographic and situational audience analysis. So let's first see what is a demographic analysis. Demographic analysis involves analyzing your audience in terms of their sex, gender, age, racial, ethnic, cultural background, group membership, and income. In short, check their demographics. So to use this method, you need to do two things. Identify the demographics of your audience and assess the significance of these demographics to your speaking situation. Remember, the crucial factors in this analysis are sex, religion, racial and cultural background as made to avoid hostile stereotypes and be able to achieve bias-free language in speech. In this way, we can avoid prejudicism and racism towards the audience. So after the demographic analysis is the situational analysis. That's right. This involves traits of the audience unique to the speaking situation at hand. So what does it mean? So, situational analysis is all about the assessment of factors that may include physical and attitude present during the presentation proper. Let's talk about them one by one so we can have a better understanding of them, shall we? Noise. These are anything that prevents the message from being sent to the audience. This may include the setup of the place, or the size of the audience. Aside from that, you also need to consider the listener's interest, their knowledge of the topic, and their attitude towards the topic. So, interest and relevance. If you want your audience to become interested in your talk, you have to make them see right away how it is going to be relevant in their lives. So, next is knowledge. So, interested or not, your audience needs to be understood in terms of another factor, their knowledge of your topic. Because with how much they know about your topic can greatly affect your speech, whether in style, complexity, simplicity, or in details. Next is attitude. This is the predisposition of your audience to believe or even listen to the speaker. You need to assess if your audience is disposed toward liking, loving, hating your speech, as well as your guts for even appearing before them. It's kind of personal, don't you think? Well, it is actually. And lastly, occasion. This must also be considered in analyzing the audience. There are occasions in which certain topics are taboo. The ban may be explicit or implied. Being unaware of the set values being collectively upheld by the audience in a given situation can almost certainly cause your speech to fail. Now, let's review everything we've learned from this segment, shall we? Yes, we shall. The two types of analysis, are demographic and situational. Demographic includes crucial factors like sex, religion, racial background. Situational includes noise, interest, and relevance, knowledge, attitude, and occasions. Well, now, I pass this camera to the person that will teach us how to gather some materials. It's your turn now, Kobe!
Thank you, Edison. And now, when you have knowledge about your audience, you can proceed to gathering materials for your speech. So there are three ways in gathering materials for your speech. So first, by reflecting on your own knowledge and experiences. Second, by interviewing other people. And third, by doing library and computer-aided research. So to move forward strategically, let's break down the three primary ways you can gather strong, reliable content for any speech. First, is by reflecting on your own knowledge and experiences. So before reaching outward, it always pays to look inward. Self-reflection is your strongest foundation because your personal insights makes your speech authentic. You live through moments, challenges, and breakthroughs that can anchor your message with credibility and emotional weight. This leads us naturally to our first major technique, self-reflection. You are the first step in your research information. Your knowledge and experiences are major sources of materials. You set the tone for your narrative, and before seeking external information, tap into what you already carry. Of course, your insights, stories, values, and lesson learned. Think of yourself as your own internal library, unlimited access, zero fees, and always open. And now, once you've checked in with your own expertise, it's time to broaden your perspective by hearing from others. So this brings us to the next approach, which is by interviewing other people. Interviews allows you to gather perspectives that broaden your understanding. They provide real voices, real emotions, and real stories, aka elements that bring your speech into life. And to understand how interviews function as a research tool, let's explore their core idea. So interview is one of the most popular methods of gathering data that involves two people sharing their views, hence inter and viewing. It's a collaborative exchange. One speaks, one listens, and between those two roles lies pure insight. It's not just data gathering, but it's perspective shopping. And here's where Kivale 1996 deepens the meaning of interview. He said, if you want to know how people understand their world and their life, why not talk with them? In an interview conversation, the researcher listens to what people themselves tell about their world, hears them express their views and opinions in their own words, learns about their views on their work situation and family life, their dreams and hopes. Kivale highlights that interviews give you access to unfiltered human experiences, beyond statistics and beyond theories. If books give you information, people give you meaning. And that's the power of a good conversation. Also, Kivale adds that interviewing as a research technique attempts to understand the world from the subject's point of view, to unfold the meaning of people's experiences, and to uncover their lived world prior to scientific explanations. So basically, interviews help you hear the story before it becomes data. You understand the why behind the facts. In simple terms, interviews let you see life through someone else's glasses. And now that we've established the depth interviews can offer, let's move to when interviews are particularly effective. Lucas 1989 identifies 4 circumstances in which the use of personal interview can be the most effective means of gathering material. First, when you want up-to-the-minute information. Because interviews capture the latest developments faster than any published material. So, my tip of the day, if you want fresh insights, don't wait for tomorrow's newspaper. Then second, when you need information about a fairly narrow subject that might not attract newspaper or other printed coverage. Because some topics are too specific or too new to have written sources. And number 3, when you have access to a person who has specialized knowledge about the subject and is willing to share that knowledge. Because experts give depth. They can simplify the complex and validate your content. And number 4, when a particular person's viewpoint will add interest and force your speech. Because we need to remember, a unique standpoint can make your message more memorable and impactful. Now that we've explored the value of interviews, let's close this section with best to make each conversation effective and respectful. So lastly, the advices of Carol Rich from 2010 in conducting an interview. So Carol Rich said that we need to concentrate on what the person you're interviewing is saying and not on what you will ask next. Second, listen attentively, as you would listen when you listen to a friend telling you an interesting story. Number 3, think critically when you listen. 4, stay quiet. 5, maintain eye contact with your source. Number 6, listen to visual signals such as fidgeting and etc. 7, be polite in everything. And lastly, be curious. So TLDR or Tolong didn't tweet. Carol Rich emphasizes that effective interviewing requires presence, respect, and genuine curiosity. You're not just gathering information, but you're also building trust. Thank you for listening to my part of the chapter. And now, after exploring internal reflection and interpersonal interviews, we round out the process with the final method. So now, I'm passing the mic to Blanco.
Thank you very so much, our one and only Kobe. So now let's talk about library and computer-aided research right away. So this is actually the third step in gathering materials for speech, but this part requires more attention because it is an attention seeker. So the use of the library provides access to reliable resources such as books, journals, encyclopedias, dictionaries, and of thinking capacity. So the presence of librarians help you navigate the resources, or sometimes to make you quiet. Next is computer-aided research. It is the ability to evaluate online information for credibility and relevance. So this is actually more practiced nowadays in the modern era of research, as it provides easier navigation to thousands of peer-reviewed articles. So next is main point. If you don't see the point, it's not the main point. And that may sound sarcastic, but it's true. So main point is the central features of your speech. Now, let's learn by analysis of examples. A speech with information as your purpose. So the specific purpose here is to inform my audience about the impact of artificial intelligence on everyday life. The general idea is artificial intelligence helps machines perform tasks that require human thinking and is used in virtual assistance, medicine, transportation, etc. The main point of that is artificial intelligence helps machine perform tasks that require human thinking. Artificial intelligence is used in virtual assistance, medicine, transportation, etc. And that's it. I hope you learned something. Let me pass this camera to the person who got patterns. Take it away, Nelson.
Thank you, Blanco. So let's learn about patterns of organization. There are 5 aspects of pattern of organization. The first one is chronological, arrange your ideas in time order. Spatial, organize by parts or places. Casual, explain cause and effect. Then the fourth one is problem solution. Show the problem and give solution. Then the last one is topical. Divide your topic into smaller subtopics. Here are some talk tools from Ted or Chris Anderson. Remember the mnomic, KBG, SUP. K, for knowledge must be full, not push. B, feel trash before sharing your idea. And G, get personal connect with your audience. And S, start strong to catch attention. And U, use humor wisely. And F, focus on the message, not your ego. Power of storytelling. Remember, story make talk easily to follow and remember. So, and these are what include in good stories. And first one is a base people relate to. Tension or a challenge. A vivid or emotional moment. Satisfying ending, funny, touching, or revealing. Explaining complex ideas. Remember them, mnomic, S mua. S, start your talk clearly and confidently. M. Make the audience curious. E. Explain step by step. U. Use simple metaphors to make ideas clear. A. Add drill or relatable examples. Persuasion. We learn from John the importance and usage of persuasion. Have you heard of the phrase primary audience? This thing is mostly used in persuasion. This means prepare their thinking before your point. An example of this is saying the word yellow, making you more like to say banana, or ask them how they feel saying the color red. Most of them will say love or luck. And the last for this segment is showing your idea. Remember, this tree is a step. Wonder walk. Use visual or moments that create awe. Dynamic demo. Show your idea in action. Dreamscape. Describe a possible and inspiring future. That's all. Thank you. Now, I pass this camera to the one and only Kio.
Thank you, Nelson. For the last topic, let me explain one of the most important things we need to learn in purposive communication. Know how to make email, messages, and memos. As this skill is as useful in every field we want to take, whether in business, industry, academic, or a skill that everyone in 21st century must learn. First, let's learn the importance of emails and memos. Emails and memos are the modern channel. These are the primary methods for organizational communication today. According to Gaffney, 2008, there are 3 stages of writing. The first one is to plan, analyze purpose, anticipate, reaction, and adapt. Second one is the draft, organize and compose. Remember one main idea per paragraph. And the last one is review, revise for clarity, proofread, and check from the reader's perspective. Now that we know that, let's learn parts of an email or memo. These are the header, essentials, the sender line, receiver line, and the date line. Basically, important details that are found before the main content of the email. Subject line. This is where the subject of your email or memo is written. Opening. The intro of the contents, always stated directly for non-sensitive topics. The body. Explain the reason for writing and details the message. Then lastly, closing. Ends with a summary or closing thoughts.
Speaking of ends, that concludes our chapter. But before this video ends, we would like to give you some quote to remember. If you have a strong purpose in life, you don't have to be pushed. Your passion will drive you there. By Roy T. Bennett. That's all. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.